live. Go live, go live, go live. So you know what?
What?
We are live.
We are live?
Yes. So it's you,
Hello,
Bob
world.
Mel, Sarah Barnes, Deangelo. Yeah, you're in America. You're called Sarah.
Yes.
That's a very biblical name. Here in Israel, you would be called Sarah.
Really?
Yes, and
Oh,
Sarah, of course, is you know who.
yes. Actually, there was a good friend of mine who used to, when I was extra sassy pants, would call me Sarai if I was a little ornery. He's like, "Are you having a Sarai day?" I don't know if that's how it's officially pronounced. And I was
Yes,
like,
all right.
"No." So
So
yeah, I go both ways, apparently.
okay, well, that's already too much information at the beginning. So Sarah, I your singing is incredible.
Oh, thank you.
And what is most remarkable, I'm going to say some remarkable things about you. I listened to you sing for an hour and a half. You didn't even go a tiny bit off pitch once. Um,
Wow.
do you have a perfect pitch, maybe?
No, no, but I have decades of classical training that
So
have just
if I play an A flat, then you'll know what note it is.
not at all.
Okay.
Nope.
If I play an F, will you know what note it is?
I mean, only because you've said so.
Ah,
I
okay.
have
Okay. So listen, you're an incredible singer, and many singers, um, some of them are able to carry a tune, and you have an immaculate voice. Um, and you're also a professional clarinet player. I want to say
yeah.
clarinetist.
Yes, that is it.
So I'm going to shut up now. Tell us everything about your life.
Oh, wow. Oh, yay. My favorite subject. Well, I I grew up and my dad also played clarinet, amateur clarinet. He loved it so much, and he had a little jazz band as a middle schooler, high schooler, and so I grew up
Sarah,
around a lot
you're
of.
getting ahead of yourself. Where were you born? Your parents?
Oh,
Start,
okay. You're
start,
that's a good
start at
call.
zero.
Start. I'm gonna start at the mustard seed. Here we go. I was born in New York in a tiny little farm town called Jamestown. My parents, Marcia and Curtis, also grew up in that small farm town. We come from farm people, although I none of them were on farms in my lifetime. My great grandparents were on farms, and I suppose that's where I fell in love with the idea of farming. And my grandmother was a musician, played piano like everybody's grandmother. We all sang Christmas carols every Christmas. She forced us all up on the staircase, all of my cousins and myself. And so we grew up around a lot of music. And I wasn't really good at anything else. I wasn't an exemplary academic student. I was a very awkward young girl. I was tomboyish. And so music was sort of my safe haven. I learned right away that music was where I needed to find my space and my voice, so to speak. And so I learned clarinet because my mother wouldn't let me play drums.
Why not?
Well, at that point, she was a single mom and already overwhelmed. So she didn't want drums in the house. And my sister, who was just my older sister, perfect and full of grace, the wonderful older sibling, she played violin and it was beautiful. And the flowing, like the blouse that would move with her. And I thought, gosh, that's really what I want to do. But I can't because my sister does it. Like, who's going to do the exact same thing that their older sibling does? So drums were out, violin was out. I couldn't do a brass instrument because I had horrible, horrible teeth, and we knew I was going to get braces. So we knew brass was not going to do it. So it was clarinet by default, actually.
You could have played guitar.
That would have been better. I'm
There's,
not sure
there's
my
a
hands.
Sarah, there's a Canadian farm girl named Joni who did pretty well playing guitar and
She
singing it.
did do pretty well. Oh, I missed my boat. So I thought for sure I was going to be a jazz clarinetist, but as I got older, I thought I need to do something where I can actually get a job. Ha ha. So I studied classically for forever. I have 2 degrees. My first degree is in music education and clarinet, and my second degree brought us here to Michigan for performance. And I thought I was going to be an orchestral clarinetist. I didn't sing at all up until that point. It was all purely classical clarinetist,
One
and I
second, you
was.
have a master's degree in classical music?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. I
Well,
know.
because when I heard you on your Christmas show play that classical piece, and I said, wow, a jazz musician that plays classical music too. And it's the opposite.
It's
You're a classical.
totally the opposite. It is the opposite, and I think I just didn't have I didn't have the the stoutness of heart to endure the many years of joblessness before you win an audition as a classical musician. The auditions, and I played in a few small local orchestras, but I just sort of, my spirit was a little broken by that sort of period between college, when you're all like, you're playing in these phenomenal ensembles and you're like on this upward trajectory, and then all of a sudden it's all gone and you're just playing in tiny little orchestras and praying for auditions. And so it was at that point, I think after maybe 4 years, my friends in my church were like, don't you sing? Why aren't you singing? You sing really well. Like, they
Of
didn't
course
know me
I
as a
did.
clarinet.
Why didn't you ask?
And so it just sort of blossomed from there. It was kind of a happy accident.
I love it.
Yeah, actually my husband was is always the one who's pushing me. And he knew Paul Keller because Paul has this beautiful outreach program on Monday nights where his big band plays every Monday night. And he brings in a public school to perform on the intermission. And so the whole school, like the ensemble watches the whole show, and then they play on the intermission. And so my husband's jazz band had been going to that for like 10 years. And I had been sitting in the audience with like stars in my eyes, and these guys are incredible. And he walked up to Paul Keller and was like, my wife is a singer. And I was like, oh no. Nobody wants to ever hear those words, right? As a jazz musician, to have someone walk up to you
One
and
second,
say,
one second. One second. Your husband, who loves you dearly, he sacrificed you to the world of jazz.
he did.
He's such a generous guy. Where is he? I want to meet him right now.
Babe, he's right here because of Google. His day got canceled. There's his new
Ah,
office.
the Google is back.
I know, but strangely, his school, it was kind of like a snow day here. Do you guys have enough snow to have
Ah,
snow days for school? Once you
the
call a
last time
snow
it
day, you can't
the
renege.
last time
So,
yeah, the last time it snowed in Tel Aviv was in 1951. Now, just because I'm Canadian, I know snow very well. But and in Jerusalem, they have snow once every 2 or 3 years. Once.
oh,
Uh,
how
so
sad.
they don't know what a snow day is, but we do.
So,
So your husband is also named Deangelo.
yes, he is. He is a high school band director.
Is he Italian or something? Such an
Oh, yes. So Italian.
so I can
All
speak to
the
him.
whole family.
I can speak to him in Italian if I want.
You could, and he would nod and smile because he has heard it from his grandmother, but he does not speak it.
Okay, and neither do I. So it would be kind of a double miracle here. But I love Italian. So 1 second. So there's something missing here, Sarah. You played in Michigan. You were touring. You got off the bus and you met your husband and you stayed.
No, my husband and I went to high school together. We started dating when I was 14.
Wow. in
We've been
Jamestown?
together. Yeah. Yeah, we've been together for almost 30 years.
Wow. Did you ever live in a city? Or you
Never.
just moved from farm to farm?
Yes. It was
You know, and
if my
you've
my
ruined, you've ruined my narrative here, Sarah.
I know. It's so crazy. I
I
really
think
thought
this
it's
Manhattan
funny.
family gets up and leaves the Upper West Side and goes to live in a farm. I got my whole narrative.
That would be such a dream. I thought for sure that classical music would carry me to a big city. But my first degree was done in West Virginia. And then my second degree was done here in Michigan. And I was like devastated when my professor at West Virginia, who's like a father to me, was put Michigan on my list of graduate schools. I was like, come on. Chicago, I get. Yes. LA, I get. Great. But Michigan,
So
why?
what, you went to Ann Arbor to do your master's?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ah, and Mr. Deangelo followed you
Yes, he did.
because he loves you so much.
Yes.
Before
And we were
donating,
already
before
married.
donating you to Paul Keller and his jazz band.
Yeah. Well, he married me as fast as he could as soon as I graduated from West Virginia because he knew that I was going to fly away. So he thought I'd better latch onto this girl and we'll fly away together.
And he's also a jazz musician. That's wonderful.
He's a percussionist. He plays so many things. He got his graduate degree work in more African studies. So he does really, really incredible African hand drumming. He teaches like Japanese taiko drumming. He really loves world music.
So listen, I have to have him on the show because I've been searching for an answer for years. You know, like in jazz, it's like 2/4 feel, and nobody knows where that comes from. The 2/4 feel of jazz.
Oh,
So if he knows,
well, he has a lot
I
of.
don't want to put him on the spot now, but on the snow day. But if he,
Mhm.
I would love to have him on the show and to talk about the evolution of swing music.
Oh, he talks a lot about that in his classes about
I
how
would
the
love
roots
it.
are.
Okay,
He'd be
okay,
so excited.
but now I have you. It's
Back to
Sarah.
me.
So at the age of 20, early 20, your husband donated you to Paul Keller, and you said, "Oh, and by the way, my wife can really sing." And, and he didn't lie.
Yeah, but well, Paul didn't know that, but Paul is a generous, generous soul. So I think, immediately just brought me up on the stage. It was this time of year actually. He's just like that. He's fearless. And also he's such a great musician that even if he pulls somebody up on stage that is not able to nothing embarrassing ever happens. He basically just envelops everybody in his like massive talent and like carries the whole thing over the finish line. But it worked. We sang Let It Snow. It's going to be emblazoned in my memory forever.
Oh
And
my
then
goodness, one of my favorites.
oh, I love that tune so much because I also just love snow so much.
Julie Stein. And
Yes.
a bunch of Jews wrote that song. I don't want to.
A lot of the good songs were written by them. I mean, really.
So, what key do you do it in?
Oh, that would be really wise of me to know. I believe D.
Oy vey. So, we'll do that another time. What
Or
key? Let's pick an easy song
or
that I can.
E flat. Or C. I'm not picky.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not that good to know everything in every key. Unless your husband wants to go over to the keyboard.
Oh, that would be a disaster.
Okay. So, but for next time, I promise you, because it's also one of my favorite songs, right?
Ah!
For next time. Summertime, what key do you do summertime in?
I believe C. Man, I should know all my keys.
Okay.
Babe, on my phone.
Is that good for you?
It is good.
And this one?
Yep, also good.
Okay, that's D minor. Let's do it. You do
Let's do it.
you do 4, and then I'll do 4.
Okay.
We'll do it slowly because there's a delay,
Okay.
and then you'll do a little thing on the clarinet.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Take it away, Sarah.
Summertime and the living is easy.
Fish eye. You take it away. Then the second verse we'll do together.
Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Oh, your daddy's rich and your mom's good looking. So hush, little baby, down you cry.
One of these mornings, you're gonna rise up is singing. Your turn, dear.
Oh, we're together. You're gonna spread your wings and take to the sky.
But until that morning, there ain't nothing can harm you.
With daddy and mommy stand by. We did it even with the delay.
Yeah, summertime with delay. Summertime is actually not a bad choice for a snow day.
I was thinking we're in the dead of winter here. Although most Michiganders don't love winter. I don't get it. I grew up so near Buffalo that these winters are so mild, and I just love the snow. If it's going to be cold, there might as well be like a blanket of beautiful, frosty, white wonderfulness everywhere.
And there's so many wonderful songs about snow.
Yes, there are zillions of them. The snow is blowing, the winds are blowing, but I can weather the storm. So many good stuff.
Keep going. What do
Why
I
do I
care?
care? As much it may storm. I've got my love to keep me warm.
I can't remember.
A
So
weirder December.
let those icicles fall. Do I care if you're in Michigan and I'm hot here? I've got my water bottle to keep me warm. So Sarah, you told me a secret, and you should never tell an interviewer a secret.
I'm bad at keeping secrets, though.
So you told me that the reason you're not on Broadway, which I think is your rightful place, is because you don't like.
I don't love musicals.
What's that all about, dear? It's okay.
I'll tell you, it's probably this. I love opera, and I think I just spent so many years in like deeply enmeshed in Beethoven and Mahler that the musicals just feel a bit I'm going to get in so much trouble. They feel a bit trite sometimes. I'm like, I need something with a little more like despair to latch onto. I love singing the music. I absolutely, because we sing, like, the Great American Songbook is full of beautiful music from musicals. But I can't seem to like sit down and get through one. It's embarrassing.
Even Frank Lesser, even Guys and Dolls.
If I'm watching it live, I love going to the theater to see a musical, but I cannot sit down in front of the TV and watch straight through a musical. It's just the most devastating thing. My husband is so embarrassed about this. When Les Mis came out, we tried 3 separate times because it was like getting all of these accolades and all of these wonderful, and he's like, we have to watch it. And I sat down maybe 10 minutes in. I'm like, oh, I can't. You go ahead. And then I'd like, no, Sarah, sit down. Okay. No, I can't.
No, but Les Mis is I'm going to get into trouble now. It's a lousy
Ooh,
musical.
good.
Les Mis is a lousy musical.
I think so too. I loved the book. I just recently watched the BBC version of it, of the play, or the whatever they did, the non-musical version of it. It was gorgeous. It was stunning. The story is incredible. The characters are so heart-wrenching. You weep and you wail and you moan. And so for some reason, when they just put music and dancing with it, it just makes me feel robbed for some reason. I love that you think so too. We might be the only 2 people ever to think that.
But the problem is now a few people know about us. Up until now, it was this deep, dark secret that I never shared with a single person except my wife.
It's a good thing that you don't have like a chat bar along the bottom of the screen for
Yeah,
people to like.
As the Jews say, that would be oy vey. You know that oy vey?
Yes, I do.
So, but you're a Christian who has a little bit of a Jewish sentiment.
I do. I one of my very, very favorite authors, I'm in a deep dive, is Abraham Joshua Heschel. And so I spend a lot of time just, I don't, our, as Christians, our roots, everything about us, our ancestry is Judaism. Like, if we don't learn that and embrace it, and the beauty of the mitzvah, and like, just there are really beautiful things that have sort of been, I don't know, we sort of have a tendency, especially as Americans, to baby and bathwater everything. But there's toss the baby out with the bathwater. But there's so much that is so rich and beautiful that is a part of our heritage that we don't really pay attention to, and I've never really understood that. And the more I dive into it, the more I'm like, this is incredible. Why don't we do this? This is beautiful. What a connection this brings. Oh my gosh, why aren't we remembering? Oh my, the scales are falling from my eyes.
And
it's a beautiful thing.
As Jews, we didn't learn enough about Christianity. And as a kid growing up in a religious school, I wasn't allowed to sing Christmas carols.
Really?
Well, and you guys have all the best songs, even though
it's true.
Jews wrote most of them, but they're still the best songs, right?
Yes.
I had Steve Marsh Torme on the show, and he's Mel Torme's son. Talking.
I love him. We know each other.
Okay. Hi, Steve. Talking about his dad and how he wrote, chestnuts roasting on an open fire. And so, you know what I'm going to ask you? Would you play something on the clarinet? Maybe a Christmas song. Oh
yeah. You don't want any Mozart?
You know what? I love Mozart.
Let's see. This might embarrass you. We might lose half of your audience. I'm a terrible improviser. I'm a great reader, but let's see if I can get through a single.
This is the Deangelo variations of Mozart.
Oh yes, we could do that.
That would be a first.
Now, well, we can do a Christmas song. Let me figure this out. Well, you did say chestnuts. let me see if I can muddle my way through the Christmas song. Ooh, it got crazy there.
What a sport! What a
Oh, hilariously, my dad just texted as I played that, which is perfect. My dad, the clarinetist. I just saw a little text go across the screen. He'd be so proud of me. He's a great improviser. He's a Dixieland clarinetist.
wow.
And he like improvises circles around me. But you know, the as a classical musician, you sort of become neurotic. You know, you learn a piece of music and you learn it
Yeah,
perfectly.
how are you able to come in and just play? You know, hundreds of people are watching you. Just play by ear, and screw all the jazz police. How did that happen to you?
Oh, that's 1,000% Paul Keller. He's forced me to be fearless, and in a way, it can be like infuriating in the moment. Like, no, I don't want to, but we're in front of all these people, and he's like, take it, Sarah, and I'm like, oh my god. But the very worst that can possibly happen on stage to, I think, an ensemble is that you fall apart and you stop and you have to start again. It's like the worst nightmare, right? And that happened in 10 years with Paul Keller. That has happened one time. I think, because he takes incredible chances. With his big band, he'll have his big band improvise a piece on the spot. So like he just does crazy, incredible things. So that's in my mind, like the worst thing that can happen. And we lived through it and it really wasn't terrible. We laughed it off and our audience loves us. And so having been through that and like various other things, but the 85 to 95% of the time, nothing bad ever happens. And so there's no humiliation in any of this. That most people don't know when we're making mistakes. As long as we're having fun, our audience has fun.
Isn't that more fun than classical music?
Oh, it really is. Oh, it was so freeing. Oh, so freeing. I think that's also why I'm not afraid, because I lived in that space of like, like I have to do this perfectly. Not only do you have to know the piece perfectly, you have to know how your conductor wants it done. And you have to play it within that specific box, like all the time. And so it's unbelievably freeing. And also there's a little part of me that sort of feels like I tried to be a classical musician and failed. And having lived through that, this is like a second career. So it's I'm not afraid, having already sort of failed at one beautiful dream that I worked at for ever. It's made me fearless in this one. Like I just, when you go through that on a level, it's what's the worst that can happen?
Listen, I think that you should be, and maybe you are. Are you playing like at international jazz festivals? You're so good.
No. Oh, thank you. It's funny. I'm so unambitious. Which is, I don't know how to be ambitious.
You're sitting on your farm in front of this bush, and all of a sudden a flower comes out. He said, "Oh, You guys are flower children.
We
I
are.
read your website. You know, you're selling flowers and little fruits.
Yeah, and Christmas this year we put Christmas cookies on the farm stand.
Yeah,
We've done 500 cookies so far. It's
yeah.
crazy.
And instead of playing at the North Sea Jazz Festival, you're selling Christmas cookies. It's okay.
I would love to. Don't get me wrong. I really would. I just, it's. I feel like music is a lot of self promotion, which I'm really terrible at. Like I just, in my mind, I think, well, there are like a million other people who can do this better than me. Like, what am I doing?
No,
So I just,
listen. I have a much better ear than I'm a musician. You're right up there at the top, dear, and you have incredible musical abilities, and you play the clarinet like at a high prof. You're like a wonderful singer and a wonderful clarinet player. I'm going to bug
yeah.
Paul to get you guys to submit to some jazz festivals.
You know, it's funny. We talk about this. We were just talking about this after he talked to you last. It was like just a few days ago, really, right? It was end of last week. And he was saying when he went to Israel, what a great time it was. And he's like, what a dream it would be to take you to Israel, and we could do all the things. And I would love to. We joke about it because I'm a really terrible flyer. If there is a way to get where I'm going, I will take it if I don't have to fly. I literally sang a jazz festival in California last year, and I took the train. For 6 days, I took the train instead of flying.
Okay, listen, you are speaking to somebody who didn't fly for years.
Oh, yay! So you get it.
Oh,
Oh,
I get it, but I discovered something called alcohol.
yes. Okay, so alcohol doesn't work for me because it just enhances the mood that I'm in. We've discovered, we tried that. So what I am investigating now, and what I said to him was,
One
I'm
second,
all in.
Sarah, this reminds me of a Cole Porter song.
Of course it does.
Could you sing it like that for us?
What Cole Porter song? He's
I
so
get no,
terrible. He's
I get no kicks from champagne.
yes, and the answer is right after that. He talks about cocaine. It's a little bit stronger. I suggested horse tranquilizers. I said, I'm all in. And as soon as the horse tranquilizer wears off, I'll be great. Like, we just need to build in time for me to like recover from the horse tranquilizer, and I'm all in. You just have to carry me on and off the plane. But yeah.
I'll tell you the secret. The secret is getting on the plane.
Oh, so scary. I have the willies just thinking about it.
Yeah, but look, you're talking to somebody who didn't fly for years. Okay, but when they get in, when they close the door, right? The plane is going to take off and you're inside it. And I think that alcohol works for everybody. It has to work for you. You're not gonna sing me. I get no kicks from champagne.
Mere alcohol doesn't move me at all. So tell me why should it be true
that I get a kick out of you?
Flying, like the bot. Yes.
With some gal in the sky is my idea of nothing to do.
But I get a jolt out of you.
I get a bump. I get some turbulence.
Oh my gosh, it's so true.
Out of you.
You know what's funny?
Listen, yeah.
I had a little bit of anxiety about making sure that I would be ready on time for this because, you know, we're in a pandemic and I have no life currently outside of the farm. And so I was like, gosh, I need to get up early, like a normal person, so that I can be ready about this. And so my dream that I had last night involved, I was so anxious. I had a dream about being on a plane. I was so anxious. I dreamt about flying. That's so strange that this came up. It was a thunderstorm and I was like, I can't get on that plane. There's no way. So interestingly enough, maybe this is some kind of like prophecy about what's going to be happening after the pandemic is over. There will be a plane in all of our future.
Well, I would be delighted if you brought Paul back to Israel.
Oh,
And I don't know how to organize it, but Paul has friends.
he does.
And what I want to know is that I definitely want to come perform with you guys.
That would
So,
be so lovely.
but how do you're in a place, you're in a farm, like miles from Ypsilanti, which has 30 residents. Where are you in the world?
Actually, our farm only feels like it's in the middle of nowhere. We're actually only about like 25 minutes from Ann Arbor and maybe 35 minutes from Detroit. So,
Ah,
yeah. And technically, we're right down I could ride my bicycle to Paul's farm, which is like literally 2 streets down. I ride down my street and I'm on his street.
so like these are like mini farms, right? You just call them.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
actually they're actually bungalows, but you guys say,
my farm was a farm. I mean, we have a silo and we have like huge barns. It like is a legitimate was a farm. It was a farm. It was a century farm. The people who built it sold it to us. Like their great great grandparents built it. And so we got very very fortunate when we found this place. And they were really nice to us. They parceled off the land. We didn't have to buy all 44 acres because what are we going to do with 40 extra acres? Like, we don't even have a tractor. So we're doing everything by hand.
is marijuana legal in Michigan?
It is and has been suggested to us. But
Yeah.
it's persnickety. Marijuana is persnickety to grow. And I want to grow things that
What does persnickety mean?
Persnickety means it's kind of ornery, I have read. Like it needs like really good conditions. I think California is a good place to grow marijuana, but like we're a cold temperature region. So we're growing things like kale, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, pumpkins. So I take it you're not a vegetarian.
No, I am, but I left Canada. I'm not a
Oh, right.
vegetarian. I eat fish.
You're a pescatarian.
I'm a Presbyterian,
A pescatarian.
which means I eat fish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and sometimes I eat meat just because I have to.
Right, iron.
Is it chicken meat?
I think so.
So I can be a roostefarian.
You
Listen, we're getting off topic.
You're right. This could happen to us.
So all I have to do really is get my vaccine, wait for you guys to start performing, and fly from Tel Aviv to New York, get a connection to Detroit, or even drive from Toronto.
Wow. You have some chutzpah. That's a lot. You could just fly straight into Detroit. We're an international airport. We'll come pick you up.
Wow. And this is, and this is like my dream is to perform abroad with a big band.
Oh, you have to come. You can stay in our farm.
Yeah, but you're not growing anything interesting. What am I going to eat? Kale for a week? Come on.
No, we are you kidding? We're gourmet cooks at the end of 9 months for cooking for ourselves. We have perfected this. And Paul lives right down the street and they will also feed you.
I can drive there on your bicycle.
You can totally ride on my bicycle.
Listen, you promised me a Mozart.
Do you want some Mozart?
I love Mozart.
Let's see if I still have it memorized.
You can do a variation of Mozart, Sarah.
Yeah, I just won't tell my college professor about this interview. Or I'll tell him that it's a 30-minute interview and I'll Oh no, this is a part. Not bad.
That was amazing.
Oh, I haven't played that in a long time. That got me into Michigan, although I played it probably a little bit better at that point.
Wow. So, I'm thinking that Mozart would have loved jazz. And
I think he would too. Yes, absolutely. He was
and
really the forefather of it. He was very improvisatory.
well, I think, well, okay, but I'm thinking that Bach would have liked it even more.
Agreed.
You can do
And
great.
even Brahms messed around with some things in his playing, like, you're listening to a Brahms symphony, you're moving around in 4/4 time, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, what happened to the meter? And he didn't change the meter. He just wrote in such a way that you shifted. We had a lot of like really beautiful improvisatory classical musicians and composers. It's all very connected. We just needed the blues to come in.
I'm thinking now about Kabalevsky. My first classical piece as a kid was, we all talk about the genius of major and minor, how strange the change from major to minor, which he doesn't even do in that. He doesn't go from major to minor whole part.
I know.
He just makes you think he did. But my first piece when I was 8 years old.
Really?
Yes, but I escaped from classical music before you. And this show is about you. So, Sarah, what haven't we talked about? What would you like to talk about?
Well, I actually, since we were talking about classical music, I have done a lot of trying to meld those. It's not a new concept. There are a lot of jazz musicians who want to bring those two worlds together. But it's such a passion of mine. The music, even though I don't play classically anymore, the music is so rich. There's only one genre of music that can just bring me to my knees and turn me into a sobbing, writhing mess of a human. And it's classical, like, listening to like the Brahms Symphony number 4, or Mahler especially. It's just heartbreaking. It's just like physical, visceral reaction. So on my first album, Paul Keller is on this album, but it's not a Paul Keller album. I wrote 2 pieces, or adapted 2 pieces. One is called Poco's Lament, and it's completely stolen from the Poco Allegretto of Brahms' Third Symphony. And we just swing it in 5. Oh, my husband walks into the room and is like, hands me the CD. Make sure you talk about the CDs there.
Wonderful.
And then
when I come, I'm going to buy all your CDs.
Oh gosh!
And
yay!
I don't even have a CD player anymore. I'm just going to buy them.
No, we'll just send them to you. You're a good friend. We'll just.
No, I want to buy
digitally.
your CDs. Anyway, listen. We're getting towards the end. Like, time has passed
already.
And I ask all of my guests about the Beatles. I'm worried now about what you're going to say.
I love the Beatles.
Yay!
I'm a huge hardcore Beatles fan.
Yay! Do you have a favorite song?
Oh, it's so funny. Someone just asked this on Facebook the other day. That's a hard question. I find that as hard as like, what's your favorite color? Because it just depends on my mood and what I'm going through. There's such a diverse group of composers and songwriters that it's really hard for me to go into that. My 2 deep dive albums, because my dad had these on vinyl, I was really lucky. So I got to listen to the White Album and Abbey Road on vinyl all growing up, right? And so
I have those right here on vinyl.
Oh my gosh! I think
I'm an old fart.
I am an old fart in my heart. I love but the Beatles are transcendent.
Sarah, that's a song. I'm going to write that down. I'm an old fart in my heart. We're on to something here.
We are.
Beatles.
So that's desperately hard for me to say. I love Your Blues. I think it's a gritty, beautiful, like visceral song. Um, Dear Prudence is so beautiful to me. Um, Gosh, there are so many beautiful songs, and the whole like the B side of Abbey Road, the way it takes you through that whole like gorgeous Golden Slumbers. And yeah, I'm a huge Beatles fan.
Okay, so White Album. My favorite Beatles song is on the White Album. It's not either of those. But Dear Prudence, can you sing a bit of it?
Oh gosh, yeah. Dear Prudence, mm, mm, mm. Won't you come out to play? There are these long spaces, they're hard to fill. You need the guitar. Dear Prudence, face a brand new day. No one ever asked me to sing the Beatles. The sun
That's why you've
is
got Mel.
out. The sky is blue. It's beautiful. And so are you, dear Prudence. I love this. We're kindred spirits, Mel. Okay, what's your favorite song? I have to know.
Here, making each day of the year. Take it away.
I can't. I don't know the words.
Doesn't matter.
So pretty now.
Changing my life the way ever had. Nobody can deny. I need her everywhere. And
And to love her is to love her everywhere. Oh.
knowing that love is to share. Each of us thinking that love never dies. Watching her eyes and hoping I'm always there to be there and everywhere.
There and everywhere. I have goosebumps. Goosebumps.
So, Sarah, as Paul promised me, this was an incredible interview, and you are an incredible human being.
Oh.
And I cannot wait to drink all my alcohol. Maybe you should try other kinds of alcohol. Maybe you just haven't found the right gin tonic. Everybody has their own gin tonic.
I'll start experimenting now.
And I think you'd love to come to the Holy Land.
I would love to see that space. I want to travel everywhere, but there's such beautiful culture on your side of the planet.
Yeah. Just get on the freaking plane and come on over.
Okay.
In the meantime, this has been You've Got Mel with the incredible musician, singer, Sarah Deangelo, but more important, incredible human being. And a new soulmate.
A new soulmate, for sure.
Ask your wonderful husband if he wants to be on the show and talk about swimming.
I will.
Take care, dear.
Love you, Mel.
Bye. Love you too.